good afternoon, wherever you are joining us around the world. This is the Dream Team webinar. We are grateful to have you on this platform. Welcome, welcome. We have a great show today. Thank you, and take it over. DrDerrick.
Siri here. Let me know if I can. We are, Dr. Derrick. We are. Right.
Your next stop is ONPASSIVE.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Derrick. Thank you, Dr. Derrick. That was outstanding. And before I continue, I want to appreciate our welcome team. Thank you so much for making everyone feel at ease. And we had a little ONPASSIVE, a baby girl who was right there saying hello to welcome each and every one of us. Isn't that great? That we're already making her to understand the faces when it's time to reap the fruit. She knows how everybody was working towards that goal, and she was part of it and will be participating in that dream. Thank you for that awesome welcome. And thank you, Dr. Derrick. We appreciate that. We heard the lovely voice in that song, and we saw some of those images, our artificial intelligence being featured there. And we start our webinar, as always, by making sure everybody and everyone is the right mindset. And this forum, we do not take it lightly. The mindset is one of those things that we truly appreciate hearing. And the person who is going to share with us is none other than our lovely sister here in Germany, who has all the beautiful colors behind her. That lovely voice we heard is from Sister Lerato, and she is here to inspire us with the word of the day. Welcome, sis. Keep smiling.
Hi, beautiful sis. How are you?
Doing awesome. Thank you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. It's so good to see you, and it's good to see everyone here. It is such a wonderful day. I will go on and say, I just want to thank my creator and thank him for this opportunity to choose love. You know, every day is an opportunity to choose. Remember, we spoke about choice last week. We said we have so many choices, guys, and for me, every day is an opportunity to choose to love well, to choose to live well, to be conscious of my beingness and make those choices that support life. So I'm so glad to be here, and I see all of you, and you look so beautiful. Thank you, everyone. The welcome team, everybody. Dr. Derrick, you're amazing. Everyone, it's so good to see you. And I mean, I'm not, you know, every time you say the word, I'm just saying I'm here to share my thoughts because, you know, I sit a lot with my thoughts and I question a lot of things. And when I come here, I try to share with you. I never said I'm an expert. I'm not an expert, but I come here to share my thoughts with you so we can think together, right? And the last time when we were here, we were talking about identity and as it pertains to faith and believing, you know, the identity. When we understand ourselves well, then we understand what we're capable of. And we can then draw the best out of ourselves then because we know how we function. It's like all of us here, when you go want to buy a car, you want to understand what the car can do. And we choose all those specs, you know, you're like, I want a car like this. Why? Because you want to get the best out of that car. And it has to serve a specific purpose, right? And when it comes to us human beings, most of us don't want to understand ourselves. A lot of people don't want to understand themselves. It's like you're just existing like que sera, sera. You don't want to understand your emotions. You don't want to understand what makes you who you are. Your identity is very important because then when you understand yourself, then you can draw the best out of yourself. And last week I said that we were created in the image of God. And I said that a lion cannot birth a zebra, okay? If we're created in the image of God, the attributes of God, you have to go through that yourself and search it out. Because, you know, when you get something, just go and search it out and find out what the attributes of God are, the attributes of God are. And I said last week that because we're created in the image of God, we also create. We are creators. That means your thoughts are not just thoughts. We have to be very very particular about how we choose to think. And this week, I'm going to talk about the power of a positive mind. We have to cultivate that. So as us here expressing ourselves as human beings, there are things that we consciously have to be deliberate about choosing for ourselves, because then you start forming yourself and shaping yourself in that way, right? And I said to us the last time that we are tripartite beings. We are spirit, body, and soul. So we're not just our flesh. We have the Spirit of God in us and our soul, our consciousness, right? Where you process thoughts, where you process your emotions. So you have to understand about that about yourself, that you're not just the body and everything just happens to you, and where you don't contribute. I said everything that happens. Some of us might have, especially when I talk about the cultivating the positive mindset, certain things happen to us because some people are so negative. Like there's nothing good that will happen that they will acknowledge that it's good, right? They always look at the glass half full, or everything that you present in front of them, it's always but. There's always but, And last week I spoke also about how I was just marveling. Like I was just so, I'm looking at our CEO, our beautiful CEO, and I'm listening to his speech, and I'm thinking about his spirit. I'm like, he must have a very strong spirit, and he's deliberate about it, because there's never a time, even in the midst of fire, he will tell us that he went to hell and back, he went to hell and back. But that faith, that tenacity, that endurance, he never came here and started talking about gloom and doom. Even in the midst of the fire and challenges that he can't even dare mention to us, there's never a time when he came here and spoke negativity at all. At all. Like it's almost like it can't come out of his mouth. Even when he's angry. I remember I watched something where he was a little bit upset about something, but even in his him being as upset, the way he expressed it, it was not rage. It was just disappointed. He's spoken. I'm like this. I'm interested in his mind. I'm interested in everything that makes him who he is, because he's incredible in terms of, just what his energy, right? And so, we spoke about that the last time, and I said, it must be also how he thinks. And I said to us last week that our thoughts are very important. What you choose to surround yourself with, because it's a choice. It's very important, because then it manifests, it sips through your consciousness and everything. You might try to hide it, but if you are soaked in negativity the whole time, you cannot attract positivity at all. Like you might try to fake it, but somehow that negativity will sip out, right? It's the same thing that I remember I had a squabble with some of my friends back then, and somebody asked me, is like, but why are you? Because at some point I just decided that I'm going to cut somebody off. And I said, I forgive people, but there are people that I'll forgive them, but I'm not going to have them in my life. Why? Because when you check what they say, you can be upset at somebody and say certain things, but the choices of the words that you use reveals what is in your heart about the person. Because no matter how upset I am at somebody, there are things that I will never say, because I've never even meditated about those things about you. If I'm going to say ugliness and things that are just gruesome and just horrid, that means that's what I meditate mostly about when I think about you. So in that moment of anger, those things sip out. My heart then starts being revealed, right? And I said, yes, we can have misunderstandings. We can argue, but immediately when somebody starts to be really ugly, I cut them off. I'll forgive them, but I'm going to cut them off, because then they reveal their heart to me. They revealed their heart. I was like, she revealed her heart. So there's no way that she can say those ugly things about me. And you understand? You understand? We can agree without being disagreeable. Thank you, sis. Yes. I was like, there's no way that she can call myself and says she loves me, but she can say such ugly things about me. It's not possible. That doesn't exist at the same place. So that means her consciousness and her meditations about me were ugly from the beginning. Right? So it sips out. You can't hide that. If you are just negativity, somehow you can try and cover it, but it always sips out somehow, right? So our mind and what we choose to surround ourselves with, and how we choose to form ourselves, understanding that we are beings, we are vibrational beings, and we also create through our thoughts. So anything that you surround yourself with is going to attract its likeness. You know, like attracts like. So if you're gonna be sipped in negativity and you come and you're like, oh, I'm gonna be positive for 2 seconds, the negativity is gonna sip out. It's gonna sip out, right? So I think it's important now to talk about cultivating a positive mindset and just keeping your mind positive at all costs, right? When I'm talking about this, I can't help but, you know, I said I'm gonna talk about what I know. I was reading a scripture one time and I said, you know, when you read the story of this guy, his name is Job. Job was like, you know, he was doing everything right religiously. He was doing everything right. And of course, if you know the story, the Bible, you know, you can follow the story and everything. But what caught my attention was at some point he said, the thing that I feared the most has come upon me. So the fear, that consciousness of fear, that emotion of fear, it means he's sat in it long enough for it to manifest negativity in his life because he sat on it. As much as from the outside, he was doing everything wonderful. He was following everything religiously. He was praying. He was doing all these things. But the consciousness, his consciousness was steeped in fear. And that fear manifested certain conditions around his life. Everybody that knows that story knows that he lost his children. He lost, you know, many things happened in his life. And because of that fear attracted that experience to him. It's what attracted that experience. Other people will say, no, it was the devil went and said, oh, look at that servant. But I'm like, but what charged it? What was the energy that attracted that experience? And he himself said it at the end that the fear, what I feared the most, has come upon me. And even in the same scripture, it said, as a man thinketh, so is he. So meaning that your thoughts, those are the things that are happening in our soul, right? Your thoughts, your mind, all these expressions, your personality happens all in our soul, right? So your thoughts, what you decide to steep or soak yourself in, like all these emotions, you know, all these things that you sit with and you sit with it too long, then they start manifesting in our lives. That's why I said that we have to be very intentional about, you know, things that we choose. I said, yes, we have emotions. Emotions come in different varieties, but certain things, you acknowledge them, you look at them, but you don't sit with them too long, because then they start creating what, you know, they start attracting what is like to them. So it's important now to be very, 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 very deliberate about things that we allow to fester or to grow in our lives. And that fear, right? We were talking about faith and fear and believing last week. And I said, yes, you know, you create faith. You create it by choosing to align with things that speak about faith. Everything that aligns with faith, you choose those things that aligns with faith. Those things that align with power. You choose everything that aligns with life. I said, we have to align. We have to agree with good. Because if we agree with good, then we choose to align with everything that agrees with good and agrees with God, with life, right? So it's a choice. And that happens. I don't know whose mic is on. So it's just DrDerrick. DrDerrick said, please mute your mic, please. Thank you. So, and I said that those things that we choose to sit in, and your identity, you have to now start building yourself to this person that you want to be, the person of power. And you have a choice, right? And another story that I will mention when it comes to choice and when it comes to positive mindset, I mentioned Job, and I said that his fear attracted whatever happened in his life. That fear, that thing, he festered it in, you know, he sat in it long enough for it to manifest in his life as whatever happened in his life. But then you have another story of 3 Hebrew boys. These boys were in a land that was not theirs. And then at some point, the king of that land wanted them to worship their gods, right? And these boys actually refused. And then they were threatened to be thrown in the fire. And those boys were like, okay, you know, what amazed me about their attitude is that when you read that text, it tells you that the fire that they were going to be thrown on in, normally, let's say the temperature was set at 5. For them, it was set at 15. Just to show them that, listen, we are going to barbecue you thoroughly. The drama that happened before they were even thrown in the fire, just to stir the emotion of fear, and dread. But they didn't give in to that because their whole consciousness was in faith. They had faith in their God. And they said, you know what? You can throw us in the fire. The God we serve will save us. But even if he doesn't, we are not going to bow down to these gods. We're not going to. So their mental attitude and how they chose to build themselves, their faith and their attitude and their stance was, we are not doing what you say. You can try to scare us, build a fire to be whatever. We are not going to get, because the king was actually trying to instigate fear and emotion of fear and dread and, oh, let's, but they were not scared. They didn't agree with fear because that's not their consciousness. Their consciousness is not a consciousness of fear, but of faith. And they stood in faith. They said the God we serve is gonna save us. And if it does, even if it doesn't, we're not bowing down. We're not gonna give in to fear. No, because that's not our consciousness. That's not the stuff that we're made of. We're not made of fear. We're made of faith. Right? And everybody that knows that story knows what happened afterwards. They were saved. Right? They were saved. But their initial stance was like, we have agreed with faith. We agree with faith. We have agreed with life. So, whatever you choose to do, it's not going to change our minds. So it's important for us now to start building that. When we understand who we are, it's like we're choosing the specs of building our soul, building things that, just the building blocks of whom we want to be in our soul. People of faith, people of power, right? So, and these are things that you have to intentionally choose. It's that we choose, we're given a choice, all of us. And then when we make these choices, it will come also through our speech, right? In the two examples that I gave you, through the speech, it came out. Job said that the thing that I feared the most has come to pass. It came through his speech as well. And I told you that we create also through our words. The three Hebrew boys, they were not thrown in the fire. They said, we are not going to bow down. God, the God that we serve will save us. And even if it doesn't, we're not bowing down. It came also, it sipped through their speech. Remember what I told you and said that when somebody thinks negativity about you, there's no way that they can hide it. You can't hide yourself. What your consciousness is like, what you mostly surround or you build yourself with will sit out in your speech, in your thoughts, and everything that we do, and then it will manifest. How does this now correlate with prosperity? Prosperity, we spoke about that. We have discussed on many occasions that it's not only money, it's about life, everything thriving around you. So now that consciousness of prosperity, when we are sipped in it, when we're sipped in faith and power in life, then it goes into everything. There's no way that now we're going to be in that consciousness of life and prosperity and things are dying around us. Our finances cannot die. Things cannot die around us if we are living in life, in that life where the life was like our vibration is the vibration of love and light. There's no way. It's the same thing that last week I said, the people that are here, I believe that we are people of power because even when people are choosing to fear and they're choosing negativity, they're choosing to follow the trend of what's going on about our company, we're choosing to be here because that we're speaking. We have to now start speaking life to our company because we cannot be here and speak something else than what we want. We want our company to thrive. So we have to constantly be in that consciousness to say, everything around me lives, everything around me thrives. So is ONPASSIVE. So is everything that I choose to involve myself in, right? Yes, challenges will come. Like, somebody said that challenges will come. Life will test you. Things will come. And like now, we're being tested big time. We're being tested. Our faith is being tested. We said we're faith, then let's see, right? We're being tested. But if we constantly choose, it's like somebody turning up the fire and say, why are you going to give in? Like the three Hebrew boys that I told you about. Like they're turning up the fire, and because our consciousness is prosperity, we are choosing nothing else. In this life, I'm prosperous. I don't want anything else. So yes, for 1 minute, maybe I might be like, oh, this happened, but because my consciousness and my identity is in this, I'm molding myself to be a person of power, a person of faith. I might be for 2 seconds, something happened, but then because now my 80% or 90% of who I am is power, is faith, is life, there's no way that all these things are not going to start manifesting around my life and becoming what I call them to be, right? So we have to understand who we are, guys. We have to understand who we are. We are just not mere, like, you're just, if you're honest, it's like we cannot be made in the image of God, and God is a lion, and then we are zebras. Come on. We were made in the image of God, guys. So you have to understand the power of whom you are and whose you are. Then you can operate in that consciousness and that awareness that nothing, if I said that I'm a person of power, I'm a person of life, and I choose to agree with God, I agree with life, then why is this their death? Why? I'm not agreeing with this. I don't agree with this. I agree with life. I cannot agree with fear. I cannot agree with discouragement and all these things. No, things will happen. Life will happen. Things will test you. But if 90% of your consciousness is agreeing with life, then life has no choice but to manifest and to be that beingness, that expression of whom you are has no choice but to be that. It has to be that. What else can it be? Right? So let's now, we're going to talk more. I will expatiate on this. We can talk about it more in the coming weeks. Like, how do we cultivate a powerful mindset, the positive mindset? Because it's powerful to think positive and to be in that constant, awareness that, okay, things can happen like this, but me, I'm looking at this donut. I don't see a hole in the donut, but I see the donut around the hole. I see the donut around the hole, not the hole around the donut. Right? So life will happen, but how now is to choose to process things and what are we conscious of in that moment? Yes, things will happen, things that are heartbreaking, but if our consciousness and then our awareness now is focused on life, then we are attracting everything that pertains to life, and prosperity is a big part of that. Then we prosper, our soul prospers, because our thoughts, everything prospers, our bodies prosper. There's also an instance where they were doing a study, they were talking about placebos, and they were saying that, your mind also, affects your health. There were people that were given a placebo, and there were people that were given a real pill. And they found that because people believed that they were given a pill, they were actually recovering. They were recovering. And because they had faith, they were recovering the same way as the people that were given the real medication. So it tells you that you're a powerful being. You're a very powerful being. So you have to be really, really intentional about how you want to build yourself, how you want to build your spirit and yourself and your consciousness and the form of the expression, what you choose. How do you choose to express yourself as a being here? Those things, it's very, very important to be very, 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 very picky and very intentional about how you choose your form of expression on this existence, plane of existence. We are powerful beings, guys, right? So the other text that also shook me to the core, it's when Christ was telling some of his followers, have I not said that you are gods, but you will die like mere mortals? Because if you don't understand your identity, then you die in ignorance. And ignorance is not a bliss, guys. I want to tell you this. Ignorance is not a bliss. You understand? It's not a bliss. You will die in ignorance. You will die powerless, because then you don't understand that there's a power in you that can pull things. Those things that you choose in your life, it can pull it. You're a powerful being. Whose you are matters. And so we have to now question ourselves, like, as much as we have choices, when we buy cars, we know the specs that we want, we know what we want to put inside, or when we buy homes, we have choices in furniture that we want to put inside. It's the same thing for you. What do you want to make yourself out of? What are the building blocks of what makes you who you are? So it's a conscious choice. How do you want to build yourself up? So that's why I said that I can't build anybody's faith here. I can't. But I can call that greatness in you and said, listen, you are more than what you think you are, because we are powerful beings. So be very conscious of how you choose to express yourself and things that you allow in your life, and how you choose to express certain emotions. Yes, fear is there, but I said that, you can't sit with it long enough to paralyze you. You let it fuel you, right? So there are many things that we can talk about when we are now talking about this subject of the power of positive mindset, right? This is what we're going to do for maybe the two more weeks. I will talk more about it, and I will just share my thoughts. You can take it or you can leave it. I don't know. But I'm just here to tell you that you're more than what you think you are, who you think you are. So think about this very deliberately, to say your thoughts, your speech, everything that we spoke about here today, to say we have choices, guys. So we will talk about this more in the next coming weeks. Now I'm going to stop here. And in case somebody didn't tell you guys, you are loved. I love you so much. And thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sis. Oh my goodness, we love you unconditionally. You know that. Yes, and you always have the opportunity to be here. This is your home, and we're looking forward to the remainder of the sequence that you have prepared in the coming weeks. Oh, wow, the choices, choosing what we want. Isn't that amazing? And cultivating cultivating a positive mindset and choosing
Sister
to
Debbie,
align with it.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sister Debbie, but is the YouTube working? Because Sister Rose was saying something about it's saying that the session has been finished. So I'm not sure what is going on with that. She's left a message on the chat. So just check on that, please.
Dr. Derrick, thank you, Sister Yvonne. Dr.
You're
Derrick,
welcome.
did you copy the message? Dr. Benny, is it working? Did you put your YouTube on, Dr. Benny? Dr. Derrick, are you in the house? Okay, thank you. Is the YouTube working?
Okay, all right, well.
Okay.
Okay, I hope so.
Appreciate it, because this is an important session today, especially because our sister just said something very, very positive about the mindset. And we have chosen and will continue to choose to align with positivity. And I think that's a very good way to look at life. I know when you stay positive, we've all chosen to go with positivity because that's what helps us. You cannot go into a classroom and, as Sis said, a lion does not give birth to a zebra, right? or an animal that has spots. Definitely not. What is it called? Cheetah? Definitely not. So if you start life by being having a negative mindset, it affects you adversely. But if you start with a positive mindset, it affects you positively. So that's what I gather from today's message. And we appreciate that, because we need to start our Sundays and our weeks with all the messages that you share with us. We keep it with us until the following week, when you'll have to bring a new one, but not just on a short-term basis. In our lives, we use all these messages that we're getting here, and I hope we practice it too. Thank you, Dr. Benny.
The YouTube is not working. Please, can you do something, Dr. Derrick?
Thank you, Dr. Derrick and Sister Yvonne. I'm sure he's checking on it, but in the meantime, I'm just going to proceed and present our speaker for the day while Dr. Derrick is working on that. He happens to be our wonderful speaker today. A man of technology from the age of 7. Do you know that's how young he was when he started having interest in technology? And I did not know him until 2 years ago. Is it 2.5 years ago? And he's been in technology this long. Wow, Dr. Derrick, an international, inspirational, motivational teacher, born in St. Andrew, Jamaica. We're so honored and blessed to know him. So he has extensive education in several areas and has primary, secondary, and tertiary degrees, as we all know. And the ones that he has in technology is more geared towards audiovisual, live pro, audio video engineer, and custom PC builder. Those are just a few, and we are blessed to have him with us. And he shares. And he also has a background in theology and also a certified first aider. And he teaches, he's an instructor for, he's a Bible instructor and also a certified medical missionary. He has everything and anything you can imagine. And for him to share with us today, his topic today, as we saw in the flyer that was shared with everyone, is just an awesome one. ONPASSIVE, with heart. Dr. Derrick, we do know that he dreams, eats, speaks, think, and talk ONPASSIVE 24/7, especially when his gadgets are cooperating with him. He goes even beyond that. He's going to share with us about what ONPASSIVE is from his heart. ONPASSIVE with heart. And that's one and only when he's done fixing the YouTube. If it's working, then he will come on and share with us. I'll stop here. If it's not working, Dr. Derrick, let me know. We can, and then we'll do something else. Dr. Derrick? You're breaking up. Sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Your setting of the not connect to the notification. You can my goodness. All right.
Did I hear properly, Dr. Betty, or it's my ears that we should wait to take a little bit for the YouTube channel to be working? Is that my understanding from what Dr. Derrick said?
I didn't hear that, but I think he needs to work on that.